and welcome to the Step Over podcast. My name is Josh. Thanks for joining. It's a new year. I hope you're well. I hope you're happy. I hope you're healthy. And hey, you know what? If you're not, that is understandable. And I'm sending you good vibes, light, happiness. It was a weird month to end 2021. I took a little bit of a break to kind of recharge. Not even recharge, just like stay charged enough to get by. If you got any kids, if you know, you know. But I'm so happy to be back with you. This is actually the first of 2 episodes I got lined up this week. I got 2 great guests, chatted with them both a bit over a month ago, where, we were feeling a bit less stressed at that point. Talks kind of focused on the Men's University Soccer Championships, which were held at Carleton. I know, that was not that long ago. I'm surprised too. But today we'll be talking with 613 Sports' Eddie Benhin, who's back on the show, this time as a correspondent for the Step Over. He and Brandon Adibe from Capital City Supporters Group took in the national championships with kind of a scout's lens. So if you happen to be an employee of Atletico Ottawa, please keep listening. This is just free scouting for you to take in. So we'll get to that shortly. The big news that I want to touch on is Coach Mista leaving Atletico Ottawa after 2 years. Can't say I'm terribly surprised. There's been a lot of opinions floating around about how he did with the club, and I haven't seen any takes that have been outright wrong. I don't think anyone thought that he did an amazing job. I don't think, I think there's a consensus that this is a huge mistake, him leaving. I've seen a lot of people just outright did not like the job that he did with Atletico. Some others talk a bit more positively about him. And here's my take on how Mista did. Was he the best man for the job? No, I don't think he was. Some of the brass from Atletico, I think, have essentially alluded to the fact that they kind of underestimated the level of the CPL. And I don't think Mista is a bad coach, but his previous experience was as a youth level coach in Spain. I think the jump to the CPL was bigger than maybe the Atletico brass thought that it would be. There's very obvious instances where he was just outcoached. Ottawa lost some games because the team was simply outcoached. But at the same time, he has to be given the players to perform. And I don't think Ottawa's recruitment for the first 2 seasons gave him the best chance to succeed either. We've seen 2 years of pretty thin teams, and any injuries put us behind the 8 ball. But when we had a healthy squad and with a good formation in place, which Mista did not always have, we saw some entertaining soccer. But I think we can certainly say that we've not seen consistent performances, especially over the course of the 2021 season. But there will always be sort of an asterisk beside his name, as the first coach of Atletico Ottawa, because he's had to deal with starting with a brand new club in a pandemic, what club has had to do that? What other club has had to start in the middle of a pandemic? Maybe under different circumstances, things could have been different, but they weren't. Mista and Atletico mutually parted ways. And you know what? I have nothing but good wishes for Mista going forward. I hope he gets a new job. I hope he continues his coaching career. I always found him perfectly pleasant the few times that I had the chance to interact with him. But with Mista leaving, that means that someone who's going to be coming in. I know a lot of people were really hoping that with Mark DeSantos seemingly available, that he'd be returning to Ottawa, but Northern Tribune reported that that's not the case. It looks like Mark's going to be working on his UEFA A license, I think, so he will not be coming to Ottawa. One name that did pop up on the Twitter sphere is reported by Giancarlo Alino, who is a York United reporter, says that the leading candidate right now is Nick Dasovic. Now, depending on how long you've been paying attention to the men's national team, you should know that name. 63 caps with Canada, played with Dinamo Zagreb, St. Johnstone, some really great clubs. Since 2019, he's been the Vancouver Whitecaps U23 head coach. Now, I don't know a lot about him as a coach, but it'll be really interesting to see, if that comes to fruition. I can tell you what I've heard through the grapevine is as of late December, when Mista had a conversation with Fernando Lopez, at that point, there is no replacement firmly in place, but it sounds like they are hoping to have a Canadian head coach for next season. So we'll see what comes of that, because they will need to have someone in place very soon. Teams are starting to ramp up for the 2022 season, and that includes this year's edition of the USports Draft, which last we heard was supposed to take place in mid-January. I don't think there's a firm date, but hopefully we'll hear about that soon too, which brings me right back to our guest for this week, Eddie Benhin. After the Men's USports Championships wrapped up, I had a chat with him about some of the players that we can expect to declare and maybe get drafted this year. Athletic Ottawa, having finished last, will have the first pick. Eddie had his scouting glasses on for the whole tournament, and he was good enough to join us. So here's our chat with Eddie Benhin. All right, we're here with Eddie Benhin, third time on the show.
Of course.
Current
Is that the record?
Current step over record holder.
Let's go. I love
from
that.
613 Sports, Capital City Supporters Group. Also model.
Okay. I mean, like maybe a 1-2 thing. If anyone wants to hire me again, I'm down. Just let me get a haircut first.
You may have seen Eddie on a lot of social media posts for Black Friday sales for Ottleti Ottawa gear. Looking pretty sharp in some of that drip.
I mean, it was really fun to do the model shoot. I can't lie. Like, it was the first time doing that, but I mean, it's weird seeing your photos online, just like randomly scrolling on Instagram, and all of a sudden you see your photo, but I know it's a pretty cool experience. I can't lie. So
my only question then is, did you get to keep any of it?
Yes, I got to keep the long sleeve shirt and the hoodie.
Nice.
I tried to get the jacket, but like, nah, can't get it.
Like that jacket, that would have been just gold.
It's too much, but I'll take the hoodie. I'll take the hoodie long sleeve. That's good. I'll take that.
Okay, great on. All right, so yeah, you're founder of 613 Sports, match day official for Capital City Supporters Group, model, and today I've invited you here in the capacity as I'm going to call you a step over correspondent.
Ooh, I love that.
Today. So I asked you to come on because you attended a lot of the USports Mens National Championships, which ran from the 17th to the 21st, and saw Carleton just lose in the final on penalties. Just a heartbreaker. But before I go on, you were at that championship game, so I want to ask you, what was it like to be at what looked like on TV to be just a really incredibly intense match?
It was probably the craziest game I've ever attended in person. I mean, equalizing in the 120th minute with it was absolute scenes. Like, I don't know, we broke a bleacher. Like, a whole bench was literally twisted like a pretzel just from everyone jumping. Yeah, I mean, we were jumping up and down the entire game, and I mean, just a last minute goal. I mean, you can imagine the scenes.
So you broke the stadium.
I mean, it was like a bleacher. I mean, listen, the school's taking enough tuition from us. They can fix that easily.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I mean, heartbreaking, the penalty shoot. I was literally right, like, at the fence, right in front, like where the goal was. So I know Kyle Potter almost saved one, and it just squeezed by, and then I had a feeling we were gonna lose. But no, it was a great weekend. I mean, all the games were great, and all the Carleton games were just fantastic. I mean, the atmosphere was electric, and no, I had really fun. One of the best soccer, things I ever attended in person.
So, I know you saw a lot of the Ravens during the regular season, really got to know those players. Now, how many of the other 7 teams that took part did you manage to see during the championships? Did you see all of them, or were there any that you missed?
No, I was there every game. I think I missed.
What a correspondent! I
missed only one game because of the Capital City season review, and that was the Laval and UBC game, but I watched it from home. So, but I saw the rest of the games live in the flesh. It was awesome.
Fantastic. Just what a guy for our first correspondent. So I know that you were really into all the Ravens games. What was the best non-Ravens game you got to see?
Oh, Laval and I think it was Cape Breton, when Laval equalized in the 95th minute. That was also electric. I stood up, started yelling too with Brandon, and I turned around, gave some high fives to some Laval fans. That was very entertaining. Yeah, I mean, all the games were close. They all went to extra time shootout, which was quite annoying because it was either raining or cold, and I just wanted to go inside, and then I had to wait longer. And then all of a sudden the next game, so I didn't get a lot of inside time, but I mean, I got my money's worth. So, I mean, every game was close except for the Guelph first game, which was they won 2-0. And then on the last day, they lost 2-0 against whoever played in the third place. Was it Cape Breton? I think it was Cape Breton. Yeah, I don't know. They lost 2-0. So that's the only 2 games that didn't go to extra time or shootout. So, but yeah, I think the other game that was standing out would probably be the Laval Cape Breton game where they equalized 95th minute.
So so it seems like there was a lot of not equality, parity. There's a lot of parity.
Yes, No, these teams were so close. Like you can tell these were like the best teams in the country. I mean, literally a bounce away from any game having a different outcome. So no, I was very impressed this weekend.
Um, so like we'll talk about the individual players in a minute. But were there any teams overall that like surprised you over the course of the weekend?
I mean, Carleton, I know it's kind of like a homer pick, but for a team that was coming in ranked eighth, they didn't win the OUA. The only reason they were in the nationals was because they're hosting it. They really showed their potential, and they really were. I still stand. They were the best team there. Um, they should have won. I'm just like they clinically, like tactically, they were the best team, the best technical team there. UBC was a very solid team, but they also just fell apart in the second half. But Cape, like all these teams were just so good. I think the one team that kind of stood out for the wrong reasons was Montreal. They just weren't as hyped as they were supposed to be. I feel like they squeezed by the game against Victoria. They squeezed by their second game against Guelph, I think,
Okay.
and then they squeezed by Carleton. I know they're hyped so much to being this dominant team, but I think it was just they got lucky all three games, so they were kind of surprising. SMU was pretty weak in my opinion, but everyone else they were solid. But yeah, most surprising Carleton, and team I wasn't really that impressed with was Montreal.
Okay. Now you're also a Ravens athlete, like you're an ultimate player, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
So I think you can be forgiven for going to the tournament, to primarily cheer on your fellow Ravens, but you also went with a bit of a different lens as well, like kind of more in like a scouting capacity. Um, so for the Capital City supporters groups, for those who don't know, you and Brandon Adibe, you're going to be hosting a USports draft preview show. It was sometime in the next 2 months. So I don't want to completely step on that territory. So I was thinking, let's look at the players like as prospects. Since some of the players we saw will be eligible for the draft, but other top players won't be for various reasons. But could be straight up just signed by CPL teams. So like what a fantastic opportunity this was to see some of Canada's like best men's prospects. What kinds of qualities or like attributes were you looking for with that scouting hat on?
first one what I was really picked on was if they stood out. There, you always knew they're special players when they stood out. Every time they touched the ball, you knew something was going to happen, and you just knew who it was just based off it. And a player that perfectly represented that was Alexander Zeese. Every time this man was on the ball, you just knew something was going to happen. His passes were just top tier, just magical player compared to the rest of the team. Not that any of the other players weren't good, but he was just a step above. And you could really hold that standard to all the other players that I had written down. Just when they had the ball, there was just a different energy about them. They carried themselves differently. The way they touched the ball was differently. And they looked like professional players. And then when you look into some research, you see, oh, a lot of them played, League One Ontario or have some experience in CPL. And it really showed there.
Were there any players that you knew that you wanted to watch going into the tournament?
Alexander Zeese for sure. When I was doing my research, just because I know he had previous experience in CPL, but couldn't really do much because of injuries, and he had experience in League One. Kareem Sow, obviously CPO. When Halifax, I wanted to see if he improved and stuff. Um, I'm not gonna like Mateo DeBrian on Carleton and all the Carleton players, but I saw them all season. But yeah, I mean Isaac Coach, I heard good things about him, and Charlie Waters. So those are the people I was really focused on just to see how they were in person because playing out west, you don't really get to see a lot of them.
Okay. Were there any names that you didn't know at the start, but you took notice of during the tournament?
Evan Liebke, the 6'5" center back from Victoria, um, just happened. He's not draft eligible, but he's 6'5". He literally stood above everyone else, and he was a massive player right away when I saw him. Wrote him down. Also, got to give a special shout out to Baptiste Toussaint. Played for Laval. Doesn't get a lot of minutes, but every time he was on, I think he scored 2 goals, and he's a short player, but speedy, agile, and he was one of those players where when he's on, something always happens. So Brian and I were kind of obsessed with him near the end, always yelling his name from the crowd.
Okay.
But yeah, no, those are the ones that like I didn't know about, but the second I saw them, I had to do some research.
Okay.
Oh, of course, Svetoslav Artemenko, the goalkeeper from Guelph. He's going to be a huge guy that Brandon and I will be pitching for Atletico Ottawa to draft.
Okay. What team do you think had like the most individual standout players? Like the most stars, let's say.
Well, at the end of the final, they were announcing all like the all stars, whatever, of the tournament, and I think Carleton and Montreal were tied for
Makes sense.
most. Yeah, which makes sense. Carleton, I remember Gabby Bitar, Tarek Hamad, Mateo, Mitch O'Brien. Montreal had Kareem Sow, Guy Frank, Penda, and other players. So I think those were the two most stacked teams, and they obviously made it to the final. But Laval was a dark horse. Laval just got unlucky that they lost in the first round and couldn't make it. I think if they won, they could have made it to the final. So Laval had a lot of pretty solid players too. So I would put Laval even third there.
Okay. Who scored, in your opinion, the best goal of the tournament?
The best goal. We saw some crazy goals, but
there's some bangers.
There were a lot of bangers. There was an own goal. That's hard. I mean, obviously, so the Carleton fan in me, the Carleton goals were just.
And you're allowed to be a homer.
Yeah, like craziest goal has to be the 120th minute equalizer in the final. Right when I think it's done, all of a sudden I'm jumping on people's backs. No idea who these people are. It was insane. But there were some crazy shots throughout the tournament, and but yeah, I think most memorable that's gonna stick by me is that 120-minute equalizer from Danny Saff.
Like I thought, for the entire extra time, I thought Carleton it's over. It's too bad. And that made me believe they might pull this off.
Yeah, exactly. I really thought we would, but
yeah,
it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah. So I'm gonna test you a little bit here. Right. Let's go position by position and just get your quick takes. Who is the best forward you saw in the tournament?
Best forward. That's hard.
That's why I got you on as my correspondent.
So obviously Gabby Bitar, Carleton, probably one of the best forwards at Carleton history. But Charlie Waters, Isaac Coach, also clinical. They had Isaac Coach and Charlie both had 3 goals. If I was to say best forward out of those,
say best performance during the tournament.
Best performance?
Let's say that, yeah.
I would say Charlie Waters. He was the more consistent. He is from England, so obviously has a different, bringing
background
up
there, yeah,
background. But yeah, he was the most consistent, and most deadly. Isaac Coach, he was hardworking the entire tournament, every time. But
he turned a lot of heads.
Yeah, for sure. He didn't have the right supporting cast just to carry him, But he tried his best. But yeah, Charlie Waters, Isaac Coach, I'd say they're 1A, 1B really. Then followed by Gabby Bitar.
Okay. Who is the best midfielder during the tournament?
Midfielder. That's a good one. We're talking creative midfielder, defensive midfielder.
Oh, your choice. Correspondent's choice.
Defensive midfielder Mitchell O'Brien. I mean,
yeah,
he's 26 or 27, but he was locks. He's defensive guy, tackles, headers. It was just no one can get by him. And I know I hate having to bring up Carleton all the time, but I mean they were in the final for a reason. But he was defensively, offensively, Alexander Ziz though, 100%. That man is your creative number 10. He was created all the chances, the amount of passes, his free kicks. He's probably the best free kicker in the whole nationals. Every time he had a free kick, a chance was created. I'm really looking forward to see what he does in the future, because that player is CPL ready, and now he's one of those players where I'm 100% sure that he will be picked up. And if he's not, then I'll be very surprised.
Okay. And the best defender that you saw?
2, Tarek Hamad from Carleton and Evan Liepke from Victoria. I feel those two would be your best 2 center backs to go at. Just hard tackle, hard nose, and just also comfortable on the ball, which you kind of need in today's game. Those two really impressed me. I mean, Evan Liepke was the first defender to really turn my head. Also, got to give a special shout out to Kareem Sow. He was solid the entire tournament. Just a perfect head down defender where every team will like. But I'm not sure if Halifax still has his rights, so kind of just ignoring him for Atletico Auto purposes.
I feel like at the end of the year, I don't think teams retain rights. I think that they can just like get drafted again by.
I think they have the choice to retain rights or just to let them go back into the draft. So I'm not sure what they chose with Kareem, but no. So yeah, Kareem, Tariq, and Evan. I think I can't really pick between those three. Those are my top three standout.
Okay, and I feel like I know the answer to the next one. The best goalie.
Best goalie, Sviatoslav Artemenko from Guelph.
So you love this guy. Why do you love this guy?
I mean, he was the most professional goalie there. He played for Valor, but he never actually played. I think he just sat on the bench. But his touches on the ball, his positioning, when to come out, saves. He had 0.9 goals against average, which was second in the whole Nationals. He only had let 3 goals in, and two of them came in the last game, and he was just. He's ready. He's CPL ready. Like I have no problem with Atletico Auto playing. His passes out, his throws, just out of all the keepers there, he was that, magical standout player where he was different from the rest of the people there. And he looked like he had professional experience. And I believe he plays for Guelph United in League One. So you can tell that he has that experience of playing semi-pro level.
And they won League One this year, right?
I believe they did, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
So no, he's 100% ready. I know Brandon was obsessing over him because he has him on Football Manager, so the best scouting app. So no, like we were obsessed with him. We wanted to go talk to him, but we decided we kind of chickened out. But no.
All right. So my last question, it's not draft specific because I know you guys are going to do a stellar job previewing the draft later on. But okay, so CPL teams, they're going to Eddie, top scout in the USports. We need to know who the top 3 guys are from the tournament. Who are the top 3 guys that who should get a shot at the CPL next season?
Mateo Debrian. I'm going to be advocating for this guy to be drafted till he gets drafted. And if he doesn't, I'm sorry, Atletico Ottawa, but I'm going to be demanding an explanation because this man is stellar. He is something special. He's used this year in university to really build his game, build his confidence. I mean, look at that goal he scored. That's not just some one-off. Like, he is just a magical player. He has a nose for goal. Every time he's on the field, every time he has the ball, you know something's going to happen. He was with the team before. It didn't work out. We need to take this guy. Like, we cannot make another mistake like we did with Steph. This is like one-of-a-kind player. We need to draft him. Moving on from there, I believe Alexander Zeese should get another chance. He was injured last time in CPL. Again, he's improved his game. From what I saw, he was just incredible. Every time he was on the ball, magic happened. His passes, immaculate. His touches, just the ball was glued around his feet. He was special. He literally stood above everyone else. It's like, obviously he's not Messi, but it's like one of those players, right, where like when they're on the ball, you just can't help but stare. So he's for sure there. And then
one more. Yeah.
Artemenko. If you're looking for goalies, obviously these are university athletes, but he was probably the only goalie there where I'd say, yeah, like he deserves to have a professional chance. And he had a chance with Valor. I don't think he played any. I think he deserves another chance to go.
I mean, I'm not sure it was a fair shot to him with John Sirois at Valor this year.
No,
I think
exactly.
I don't think anyone would have had a chance there.
No. So those are the 3 for sure where if they're not on the CPL, I'll be really questioning what's the point of the whole USports.
And Ottawa has first shot.
Ottawa has first overall. And I mean, you had Nationals in your own backyard. Your Carleton, which is in Ottawa, came second in the entire country. There's no excuse to not, and the amount of talent that came out of it, there's no excuse to mess up this draft. I understand.
And you've got Eddie doing scout work for you.
I've told the club this before.
For free.
For free.
This is a free podcast. They can just listen to this and just take notes.
I know this isn't Atletico Auto based, but like Mateo is the perfect solution. It will build the local community to help market. It's a local talent, and like it's a talent. He is a one-of-a-kind player where why would you miss out on? There's nothing to lose. You don't
from a marketing standpoint, you saw the guy, you saw the people who came out to see Steph Karađorđević and
Yeah,
Tony
Tony
McHale.
McHale. It'll be the exact same Mateo.
Tony McHale's family, like, I think each game bought up like 100 tickets.
Yeah, they fill up an entire section.
Yeah.
Hey, Mateo's from Gatineau. You don't think his family's going to come over to watch him play professionally? You don't think the Bronson boys or Carleton people are going to come watch? It's a great marketing standpoint. And it's also talent. What is there to lose? I don't understand. The point of USports is that, hey, you can let them go back to university after August if they're not ready. And you can still retain their rights, too. So there's literally nothing to lose with Mateo there. So why would you not take someone from your own city? So I'm hoping I'll draft him. If they don't, they're going to have to face my wrath for sure.
So Atletico Ottawa, you heard it here. Draft Mateo DeBrienne or Eddie's going to get you.
I have a megaphone. Just remember that.
That's it. All right. Is there anything else you want to touch on?
It was honestly great tournament. One of the best soccer events I saw live. I was very impressed by the quality. You'll be surprised that it was university sports. Like, it was high entertaining. We got, I think, every game but 2 went to extra time or shootouts. Like, talk about getting your money's worth. I mean, fun fact, I found out like 2 days into the tournament that I could have gone in for free as an athlete. And my captain forgot to mention that, so I kind of spent $30 when I could have gone in for free, but it's okay. but
it
no,
was worth it.
It was no, honestly. After the first day, I've got my money's worth. I mean, the first day was 3 extra time / shootouts, and then the first game had a red card in it. I got a fantastic weekend that I'm not gonna forget. Like, this is for sure a memory of a soccer event, up there with watching the U21 World Cup, whatever, in Canada back when I was a little kid. Like, that's how good.
So we got to bring this back to Ottawa, like next chance we get.
Yeah, I don't know when it will be, but yeah, for sure, that'll be great.
That was our chat with Eddie Benhin. We want to thank Eddie for joining. Always a good time when he's on the show. And remember, that was just the first of 2 chats I've got lined up for this week. Stay tuned for the next episode where you'll hear a more Carleton-focused chat with Carleton pundit Jesse Porter McLennan. You will not want to miss that. Until next time, stay safe. We'll see you.